Hey everybody, it's Jesse. Happy Monday. I hope everybody had a nice weekend. I've gotten a decent amount done on the site since the last time we had a stream. You could see in my Trello board I've got some more things in the done section. And today we're going to work on this one, hiding and showing some content on the Teams page. So let's go to the code. Let me show you what the problem is. If you want to look at all the things that have been done since the last stream, check out the GitHub repo and look at the commit history. There'll be dates on everything, so you'll be able to see step by step what changed in the code. I also have a link to this demo site, so you can check out the rest of the site. You can see I've put in, we had a little vote for the font on Friday, if you remember. I really like the Cinzel. I tried both of them, and this one just looked really nice. You could see it even on the home page. So that turned out really nice. So thanks to everybody who added their opinion about that. You can see I even added it here in this section. Just super nice. So I think we're going to go with that. Now let's check out the team page. Hey guys, I'm just looking at the chat. I'm doing good. How's everybody doing? So I think the last time we looked at the Teams page, we didn't really have much going on here. So since then, I've actually added some data for these cards, and you can see I've added all the sections with just kind of some basic things for the cards. I still have, these kind of test sections down here. I've also added this like tiny hero-ish section here. So there were a lot of images on the home page for the original site that every time you refresh the page, the image would change. And that was kind of acting as their hero images for the home page. So after we had a meeting Friday morning, and I found out that the people who were the head of this department, who I'm making the site for, really liked those images and spent a lot of time picking them out. So I decided to add them in each interior page. You have a tutorial about building it. Yeah, for the let me ask the Axiom Tech Computer Maintenance Service and Repair asked if we have a tutorial about building it. Building what specifically? There's kind of a delay here, so I'm not sure what I was talking about when you posted that. So let me know what you want to know a tutorial about. I might have gone over it in a previous video, and if not, maybe I could make a recorded video about it. So I'm going to try to add these in. I think it's better anyway because the odds of someone coming to the site enough times and getting to see every image was really low. A website like the one you're showing. Oh, okay. So someone asked about a tutorial. So I've been doing live streams pretty much every weekday showing how I'm building this site. So I have some live streams on this channel, on freeCodeCamp's channel, and I have some on my own channel that I had done previously. So between the two channels, you'll see a lot of what went into this site. I didn't start from scratch for this one. So, you won't be able to start, from very basics. At some point, I'd like to do one just totally from scratch, set everything up. But for now, for this project, there's a really tight deadline. In fact, today is the day that I had said I would like to have it done to the point where we could really begin testing it in different browsers and things. So that means I want to have at least demo content in for every different page that we'll have and, the different elements on the pages. So I still have some work to do today, but I think it's still doable that I can have all that done. I have some people working on doing some image editing and getting me some images for the sections that I don't have yet. And I have someone else working on the content. You see there's a whole lot of text here, so we're probably not going to keep this much text. I have somebody who's setting up servers right now, so I have some help, so I can just focus just on developing this site. See, do I speak Spanish? All right, somebody asked if I speak Spanish. Just a tiny bit of Spanish. I haven't. I had some Spanish courses in high school and in college, but it's been a long time since I've spoken Spanish, so I haven't kept up with it. All right, so let me show you briefly the old site. I think we went over this section in a previous video, but I want to show you again kind of the issue that we had. So this is the team page on the old site. So you can see the similarities. We added this content here, so the stuff that was in this red box is now here. Like I said, it's probably going to get cut down a little bit because that's a whole lot of text to start out with. And then these sections where you have these cards, basically I'm going to take this info and have them in these sections. But there's a lot here. You see we have this accordion kind of thing, and there's a lot. And we had some problems, like when the accordion opens, it just puts you right in the middle of the list. So not really ideal. It's not what people expect when they open that. They would expect to be at the top of the list. So you see there's a lot. So I'm thinking I don't really want to have all that stuff on the page. It would be crazy to scroll through that, especially on mobile. So the plan is I'm going to have these sections. So it doesn't seem that bad right now, but after we get all the data in, it's going to be a lot of stuff. Are you guys having trouble hearing me? Is somebody asking what I'm saying? Let me know if you're having trouble hearing me. I'll try to adjust some, maybe talk louder and adjust some of my settings. I actually have a trick when I'm live streaming to help me talk louder than normal. I play music in my headphones, because we all know when you listen to music in your headphones, you tend to talk louder. Okay, awesome. So it seems like everybody's hearing me all right. Great. So if you have a problem with talking low, like I do sometimes, or maybe mumbling a bit, and you're going to do a YouTube video, try out that trick, as long as the music's not too distracting. At least it's been working for me. All right, so these cards, I think we started these cards just really briefly to kind of go over what's going on here. The problem with the cards was that as we were kind of resizing things, these cards were growing and shrinking, but the image wasn't. So we had this white space underneath that didn't look good. So the solution to that ended up being so much easier than I thought it would be. All I did was I set a max height for this card. So the images are all going to be square, and they're all going to be 100 pixels by 100 pixels square. Okay, I have a lot of different size images. Some of them are really small, so the only way I'm going to be able to get these uniform is just to make them 100 by 100 square, and that way even the smallest pictures should work. And since I'm setting my max height to be 100 pixels, then I should never have a problem with that white space coming in on the bottom. Okay, the only issue that I have right now is the space gets a little bit tight, so you can see when we shrink it, there's a tiny window right now where there's just not enough padding on the bottom if one of these rows goes onto two lines. I don't know how many people have a long enough title that that'll happen for, but if I can't avoid it, I'd like to. I don't want to spend too much time messing with it since it's such a small screen. It's just really a few pixels where that happens in terms of width. But if I can fix that, I'm thinking maybe I can just drop the padding down all the way around, and that'll just make just enough space to get that on the next line. But I'm not going to worry about it until I get more data in there, because it could be that somebody else has an even longer title and it doesn't work even with the padding adjustment, and so I have to think of something else. So I'm not going to duplicate all that work. But for now it works. I've used this red as the same color red we're using in the background. And the idea is when you click on one of these, a modal is going to pop up and it's going to have all that other information that we see in here. Because for some people it's a lot. Some people not so much. But no matter what, even if it was a sentence, it's still not going to fit in these cards and work the way we want it to. So today, we're just going to try to hide these sections. So what I would like to happen is that if you click on, let's say, this title, it would show everything. So by default, the only section that would show would be this first one, and then you just see the titles for the other ones. I'd like to put in a small icon here to give some indication that this thing is clickable. So a lot of times on menus, you see like, the little arrow icon, and then when you click it to be open, the icon is going down, it's pointing down, and when it's closed, it's pointing to the right. So I'm going to try to put that in. So let me show you where I go usually for icons. I think I may have done this in a previous video, but it's been a while, so I'll show it again. So I like to go to Google, material design icons. There we go. So this is the site where you can get material design icons. Let's see if we're looking for arrow. No. Chevron. There we go. Okay, so it's called a chevron. We have the chevron right, but where's my chevron down? We may just have to manually rotate it then. I really thought that I had used a down chevron at some point, but oh well. So we'll click on this one, and you can see a little cross would be nice as an icon. Actually, that's a good idea. Okay, so in the live stream we had a good idea to use a little cross as an icon, so it would be like a plus. So you would click it, just saying like, hey, there's more here, and then I'm assuming that plus would turn into a minus, and then you click the minus, and then that would. I actually like that better. I like that a lot better. Let's try that. So I've used this on previous sites, but I'm going to try that plus and minus. Plus. If we can find it. No. Let's see. No. How about this? What we can do, this would be tricky. We can use the close and then just spin it slightly with CSS. Type cross. Alright, I tried to type cross, nothing came up, but maybe I just needed to scroll up. Maybe I was too far down. Alright, nope, not seeing cross here. I'm sure they have it maybe in a different font icon set, but this should work just to spin this. So let's grab this, and I like to grab the SVG version. So we'll load this, we'll download this. Let's see, we'll just throw this in downloads for now. Oh, I already have it. Okay. It says I already have it. Let's just replace it because I don't want to search for it. I want it right here so I can open it. So you can see we have this tiny little cross. If we go into view source, it's just such a small amount of markup right here. We can just take that markup and copy it and put it right into our code, and it'll show up. So let's just throw it in there now and see how it looks. It'll definitely need some adjustment, but for now we just want something in there. And I'm not going to worry about adjusting it too much right now. I'd like to get to actually showing and hiding something. And if you haven't joined me before, I only live stream for half an hour. Sure, add. Oh, okay. Somebody just told me it's add is the keyword that we want to search for. All right. Let me just make a note that it's actually add, and I'll do that later. So. Okay, we got greetings from Italy. All right, awesome. I've got some great-grandparents that came from Italy, so awesome. Which editor is that? I'm using Atom. Add, and then, okay, remove is the keyword for a minus. Okay, awesome. Thank you for that. I can't believe that I didn't think of that as a word to search for. Okay, so I'll add in that icon at some point. That wasn't the important thing. I just wanted to show you guys where I usually get my icons and how to grab the code for the SVGs. I like to use SVGs because it doesn't make a network request, like for an image or for a font icon. This, you just put it inline right in your code. I think the support's pretty good among modern browsers for SVGs. I've never run into a problem from one of my users. All right, we got greetings from Vancouver and Nicaragua. So awesome. Thanks for watching. Is this Node.js and React Native? We're going to get into Node and React later on. Maybe later this week or in the next week. So right now we're just kind of developing it out. We're kind of developing and designing kind of together on the fly. It's a little weird situation just because of the timeline for when the site needs to launch. But the plan is to convert all this into React components and render everything server side on a server that's running Nginx and Node. We're going to run Express. So Nginx is going to be the reverse proxy, and Express is going to act as the server. So we'll get into that hopefully later this week. But let's get into some of the... Let me move this to the side so we can get into some of the JavaScript that's going to show and hide these sections. Well, first we can have some CSS. So I wrote a little bit earlier and I just commented it out to show you. Where's my team page? I'm using Sass here. It's getting a little bit long, so I might have to clean this up before the next live stream, just so I can tell where everything is. Okay, so I'm gonna uncomment that, and when I save it, I'll show you what's going on here. So you can see now everything's hidden. Oh, I got greetings from Canada, Serbia, Bulgaria, Mumbai, Venezuela. Wow, you guys are all over the place. I love that. That's really cool when everybody kind of shouts out where they're from. I think it's amazing. You guys are all watching me, probably all different times of the day in the different time zones. So anyway, that's cool. I'm just in a small city in Ohio, and so thanks for watching. Philippines, Brussels. All right. Cool. I'm going to try to keep an eye on the live stream, but it's easy for me to get sidetracked with the live stream and not show anything. All right, so step one is complete. We've hidden things successfully. Okay, but I've added a class. I'll show you the markup. I've added a class of open. Let me see. You can see this is getting pretty long too. I can't wait till we convert this to React components so we can just have one component and not have to have this huge long page. All right, so we have, there we go. Here's a section we're looking at. So all the sections that have these cards for each team member are in one container, and that just gives them some padding on the sides and keeps them centered. And I have this open class, and you can see that's what actually displays all the rows inside that class. You can also see I'm not hiding the title row, so the row that it actually has the title for that section is not getting hidden. So if you guys have probably seen this, but just in case, I've just added a colon, not, and then in parentheses I add the name of the class that I don't want this to apply to. So I want it to apply to all rows except not rows that have the class title row. So it's cool. Like I said, you probably already know that, but just in case somebody's like new to web development, that's what that does. So what we need to do, and all we need to do, it's pretty simple, is just move that open class to whatever section is being clicked on. So today, really just for speed, we're going to write this in jQuery since we have to load jQuery anyway for the framework that I'm using. The framework is Materialize. When we convert this to React, I'll probably do something different with it, more of the React style way to do things like this. But for now, the jQuery way will work. I'm just going to go down here to the bottom and I'm just going to give a little comment so I remember what this is. And you guys can, if you're going to check out the code in GitHub, you'll be able to see that section too. So in jQuery, we start everything with that $sign shortcut. And let's see, we want to grab that title row, that class title row, and we want to look for the click function. Can everybody see that? Do I need to increase the font? Let me know. Why not search for it instead of scrolling? Yeah, somebody asked why not search for it instead of scrolling so much. That would have been a good idea. I'll try to remember that. It is getting to the point where I need to just search for things because it's getting too big. Okay, so we're doing this click function, and inside the click function, all we want to do is just add, let's see, let's go with this. And we want to add the open class to the parent. Okay, so this section is the parent. So we're actually just going to type this, which will mean the thing that's clicked on, which in this case is going to be that title row. Be careful about this in JavaScript. Sometimes it doesn't mean what you think it means, especially, at least for me, I found in React when I first started using React, this did not ever mean what I thought it was going to mean. So that can be a little bit tricky. But in jQuery, when you're doing click things, it usually is pretty easy to figure it out what this is going to be. So we're going to have parent, and actually it is just going to be the parent. We don't need to put any. The parent for this row is always going to be that section. So now that we have that parent, we're going to add the class of open. And that will show. Now, you may have already thought this. This is the reference to the current object. Yeah, you're right. Somebody put in the live chat. This is the reference to the current object. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward right now. Although, like I said, I have run into some cases where this didn't always mean what I thought it was going to mean. So not only do we need to open that section, actually, let's think about this. There's no reason why we couldn't have multiple sections open. So I don't know if I want to auto-close all the other sections. If we do that, we might end up with the same problem we had on the old site, and that people are going to get stuck in the middle of a list when they expect it to be at the top. So here's what I think we're going to do. We definitely do want people to be able to close it, but I don't want it to auto-close everything else when you click one thing. So we're going to put a little if statement and do a check. We're going to say if how do I want to do this? I want to check. All right, let's write this out first. If the parent section is open, then we're going to then close. Else open. Okay. Okay, so I don't always do this, but sometimes it helps to do kind of this, just think this out logically. Okay, somebody in the live stream recommends You Don't Know JS, this in Object Prototypes book. That's a great recommendation. That is available for free to read. Maybe I'm going to write that down. I'm going to put a link to that. Okay, I just wrote that down. That's an awesome book, a great resource. So you can just toggle class open. you're right, yeah. I can do toggle class. I always forget about toggle. Okay, let's just do toggle class. So, um, in case you're watching this later and you can't follow the live stream, I just had a suggestion just to use jQuery's built-in toggle class method. So let's change this to toggle class. Oops. Okay, that's great. This should work. All right, let's bring in the, where do we leave that at? All right, let's see if this has done anything. All right, it's working. I have the same thing written here. I'll have to change this. I didn't realize I had pasted the same title in for both of these. Awesome. Okay, now what could we do? We could probably add some sort of nicer looking effect to that. And I may do that. At this point, since I'm just trying to get everything done enough to test, that'll probably be on the list of things to do if we have time. But it would definitely look nicer if we had some sort of other effect that happened when we open that. But the basic functionality we were looking for is there. So people will come to the page, they'll see this, scroll down, won't have to scroll too far, but then they can click this. Obviously, we're going to want to add things like we want the cursor to turn into the pointer that looks like you're going to be able to click on it. We want to add our icon, our plus and minus icons, and change those out. But for now, we have the basic functionality and fade 100. Okay, somebody's saying to use fade 100. So actually, this is a new one to me. You guys are more knowledgeable here about jQuery than I am. So this is awesome. So I'm just going to add fade onto the end. I do know about the cursor pointer. Let's see. Is this... I'm sure I'll know in a second whether or not this is what you guys meant and whether it works. Okay, I'm not seeing that much of a difference here. Maybe fade in. Okay, it's fade in. Or slide up, slide down. Okay. It looks like we have a bunch of options, so maybe I'll, did I save that? Maybe I'll have to mess with this after the live stream and see which one I like the best. But thanks for all the feedback. This is great. Where I work, there's not that many developers here, and we usually are working on separate projects. So I really enjoy whenever I have you guys, kind of watching me and able to give me some feedback. That's awesome. If you can get together with fellow developers, you can definitely level up your skills so much faster, with help from other people. Okay, you're right. In the live stream, they're saying try to add to the milliseconds, because 100 milliseconds is not really that much. So it might be doing something and it's just doing it too fast for us to, and remove the toggle class for the effect. Okay. Cool. I'm going to try this. I think I only have a minute left on the live stream, so I'm going to try out all those suggestions when probably later on. And can you show open the class? I'm curious how. You show the open class. Okay. Let me show this. I just had a request to show the open class that I did with CSS. It's super basic, so we can see. Well, first of all, I'm using Sass instead of straight CSS. So if you're not used to Sass, it might be a little bit different. But basically, all I've done is these are just nested inside. So we're only doing things on the team page, the page with the ID team, inside this team card container, and within the section that says open, on every row in that section, we're just setting display to block. Because before that, on every row except the title rows for all sections, we've set display to none. So by default, everything's going to be set to display none unless it has this open class on the section. Does that make sense? Good jQuery showing how this option as well. Man, you guys are on top of jQuery. I've been purposely trying to do things in just vanilla JavaScript because I'm trying to get better at using React. And everybody that I've watched on YouTube or I've read articles has said don't use jQuery with React. So unfortunately, my jQuery skills have not been getting any better and probably been getting worse since I've been trying not to use it. So I do appreciate all the help. All right, so that's it for today. Thanks for all the suggestions. Thanks for watching. Tomorrow we'll have pretty much a completed site. All the content won't be added in yet, but hopefully we can tomorrow maybe start doing some testing, checking all our mobile breakpoints, maybe even taking a look at the server and how we're going to set that up. Everything you can do jQuery so .js. Yeah, that's true. So someone said everything you can do in jQuery you can still do in vanilla.js. That is true, and that's the key. I found jQuery, when you're talking especially about DOM interactions or making like XHR, like AJAX requests, then jQuery seems like it's easier. But it is true. You can do everything in vanilla JavaScript. I use jQuery right now because I'm already loading it for the framework that I'm using. Okay. All right, cool. All right, you're welcome, guys. There's some people saying thanks. So I'm gonna end it now. I'll see you guys tomorrow. If you have any questions, throw them in the comments. I read all the comments and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. And check out. You guys have a lot of suggestions today. That's awesome. So if you want to, go ahead and check out the repo and let me know what you think. If you have any suggestions, I'll tell you right now, it's a little messy just because of the speed that I've had to, develop this site with. So I apologize for the mess. But pull requests are definitely welcome, or just advice in general. Background image and a variable and size. Yeah, somebody's talking about variables in Sass. Yeah, you can definitely. There's definitely some nicer ways I could write this for Sass. I'm not too worried about it now since all these styles are going to get broken up and added into the React components at some point, and they're not going to be Sass at that point. So I'm not super worried about optimizing the Sass or organizing it that much. Okay, my channel, it's I think it's just Jesse Weigel, the YouTube channel. The link's in the description. Okay, goodbye for real this time. If you have anything else, just send me a message on Twitter, put it in the comments. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.